3's required pay raise and enhancements to the teacher retirement system, Texas will still experience teacher shortages as our state grows. What can the state do to make teaching a more attractive option for young people?
So when we look at the research, what we find is that, we try and measure our outcomes and we try and determine what helped reduce those outcomes. And the single biggest factor that we've seen that improves student performance is teachers. In Texas, we have just over 380,000 teachers, and it is absolutely imperative that we recruit, train, and retain our teachers here in Texas. Of course, pay is just one of those factors that's necessary. And so with House Bill 3 last session, we increased that. We provided additional incentives for those teachers who will go in kind of our areas of higher need or in rural needs. There's a lot of other factors. One thing that I often hear from teachers is a lot of the unfunded mandates that really result in a bureaucratic nightmare of having to fill out paperwork and other things that provide little, if any, educational benefits. I would say another thing is standardized tests have also created a lot of undue stress and pressure there. So for me, there's quite a few different factors that we can do to improve and retain teachers.
Thank you. Mr. Gillett?
So during the course of this campaign, I've knocked on over 2,000 doors. I've talked to hundreds of people. I've talked to a lot of teachers. There's a huge turnover problem with teachers. I think about a third of teachers don't make it to their 6-year mark. And that's a problem, because that really is the biggest singular impact on how we're going to develop our children and grow the next generation. And I think that one of the big things that we can do to help that, it's not going to be popular, it's not popular with a lot of folks, but it's merit-based pay. And I think that there's a lot of angst about it because people talk about, well, what makes a good teacher? And the truth is, that's very objective, that's very subjective. And that's why I agree with things like the Teacher Excellence Initiative in Dallas and whatnot, where we give the local communities the ability to decide what a good teacher is, and that we can boost their pay so that way they don't have to have 2 jobs, and they can focus in on actually helping our children.
Thank you. Ms. Edmondson, same question.
Well, the way to attract and maintain the best teachers is no different for the teaching profession than any other profession. And that's let's increase the starting salary for teachers so that it's similar to other college-educated professionals. Let's offer ample opportunities for professional development and learning, offer better medical benefits, and then let's put the teacher pension system, let's merge that with the pension system that's currently offered to the legislators, which is a better pension system, and would put them in a better position in retirement. And then last but certainly not least, let's work to ensure safety in the classroom. How are we going to pay for all of this? We're going to pay for all of this by closing up our corporate tax loopholes and getting rid of tax exemptions that have been offered to certain industries that are not necessarily, they're not necessary any longer. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Whitfield?
I'm very fortunate that I have a regular commentator on the importance of all these issues for teachers. That's my wife, who's been a classroom teacher before, now works on educational equity issues. I'm also fortunate to be surrounded in my campaign by teachers who taught me growing up in Berkeley schools, former superintendents, former classroom teachers, and one of my best friends from high school is sitting here in the front, who is a teacher in Grapevine, Colleyville. And they tell me regularly that there's a lot of challenges and a lot of concerns, but a lot of extraordinary opportunities. They're there because they love our kids. What they tell me most about is their concern about the pressures placed on teachers without the support and the lack of listening to their voices. So first, we need to change the culture so that young people realize teachers will be listened to. They're the professionals who know what's right. And that we show the respect to the profession by ensuring that they're getting the pay, they're getting the benefits, healthcare costs are brought under control, safety is addressed, and frankly, that we treat them as a profession in the way that they should be treated.
Thank you. Mr. Reynolds, same question.
All right, folks, let's be honest. Does anybody get into the profession of teaching for the money? seems unlikely to me. So I think that what we can do to attract great teachers to the state of Texas is to offer them a competitive salary, somewhere near the middle of the range for the 50 states, but offer them the greatest benefits package that they could find anywhere in the U.S. And I think that that will bring them here and that will keep them here. As Mr. Gilbert mentioned, 1 in 3 teachers doesn't make it through their 6th year, and indeed, I think it's 1 in 10 leave before the end of their 1st. I think that a large part of that is that we are not appreciating them as a state to the degree that they should be appreciated. So let's do that. Let's offer them competitive salaries and let's offer them the best benefits package that we can. And I think that that plus the tacos in this state will keep the best teacher talent here.
Thank you. Question number 3. Texas currently uses an accountability system in which each district and campus is assigned a letter grade, A through F. Especially, excuse me?
Mayor, would you like me to answer
Oh,
that?
I apologize. I don't think that was a technical difficulty.
The mic wasn't working, I'm sorry.
I apologize. Mr. Gillen, you got a sneak peek at the next question. Thank you, sir.
All right, so a number of great things were mentioned tonight, but I think a couple of other things that need to be pointed out is that I think mentoring and training and a healthy school climate is also essential to keeping teachers in their profession. Tying teacher pay to test scores and those things is not the right thing to do, but I think, working with the administrators and teachers, because, as you heard most of us say up here, all of these teachers, they're dedicated and committed to serving these students and to making them the best possible students they can be. So I think those are some additional things that we can add to that. The mentoring, the training, and a healthy school environment will help teachers along with the pay that we need to give them.